Good morning, Ronto. This is Conrad Getz for Double Double Radio, coming to you all with a special broadcast in honor and respect of today's date. The weather today is cool but sunny, a perfect autumn day. I want to take today's broadcast to acknowledge the events of 128 years ago. The Great War, the Fall, whatever you want to call it. The day the world ended, but more than that, the day it all changed. So many lives lost in a matter of minutes, and the rest of them changed forever. In some parts of the world, it was a day very much like today. Getting ready for Halloween, commenting on the cool breeze and sunny morning, sipping coffees and reading the paper. It wasn't all perfect, since there was still war happening in various places. Heck, the Battle of Anchorage was still really fresh for a lot of people, including my great-great-great-grandfather, who almost ended up in that fight and lost friends to it. Great-great-grandma was a nurse in the aftermath of it, which was rough to deal with all the same. The news that morning was the worst anyone could imagine. Vaults had been under construction all over North America, including here in what used to be Canada. But of course, the ones up north were less of a priority, since they weren't started until later in that process. That meant that only a handful were functional enough to be activated when the news swept across the country, at least from what I've heard in my travels. Luckily, those few vaults were big enough to hold more people than originally expected, but even then they still had limits. I can't imagine how difficult it was to get into the vaults, and even worse, to know that the world outside them was going to be gone forever. But I am thankful that there were places at all for people to survive. I mean, Vault-Tec might not have had the best of intentions behind all of them, but for the ones that worked, they'd given a lot of people chances to forge ahead out there and make something new. Places like Shady Sands, Diamond City, and even Vault City are thriving communities amidst the radiation, raiders, and mutations out there. And I've heard word that there are even more that are forming to make the Wasteland a livable place again, out near the capitals and some areas near Appalachia and the Mojave. Even here in Ronto, despite the raiders, the other conflicts, and the mutated creatures, people have been carving out some wonderful places and safe spots to live and thrive. Every time I get a holotape or letter or some other scrap of news from around the area, it reminds me that there's still stories all happening out there, and they're not all bad. Well, some of them are bad. But those don't mean that there's not just as much good to be found in the Wasteland, if not more. As much as there was so much lost in the old world, there's still so much that can be found now. And I mean, if the people that made it into vaults or other bunkers to survive hadn't made it, then we wouldn't be here to carry their stories into a new future, right? So as much as I'm not a fan of Vault-Tec's shadier practices, I am thankful for them as a concept, because it means that we all get to be here working on a new world, building ourselves up from the ashes. I knew today was coming up, so I actually went through my old vault notebook that I've kept as a sort of scrapbook of my time and found an old speech I did back when I was in the vault myself, way back on the 112th anniversary. Oh wow, this would have been just before I left. If anyone's still listening to this bit of rambling, then I encourage you to listen just a bit longer, because I fancied myself quite a bit of a writer when I was transmitting over the Vault's BA system. Good morning, Vault 416 residents. It is October 23rd, 2209, and this is Conrad Getz for your morning broadcast. The Vault systems, blah, blah, blah. Oh, here we go. On this, the 112th anniversary of the beginning and end of the Great War, we must take the time to acknowledge and remember those lost to the bombs. It is because of our homes, these vaults, that we are able to continue the great works that those before us were striving to complete before nuclear devastation took the world above from us. With every day and every year we can move forward, and on Reclamation Day, when we leave to work with the other vault survivors to rebuild, we will be able to create a better world than the one left behind. one free of famine, of inequality, and free of wars that separate us. This is the mission and objective of the vaults, and I believe that it should be upheld and motivate us all for better things. Thank you, and have a wonderful day, my fellow vault dwellers. It's kind of funny that I wrote all that at the time. I mean, I never got to say most of it, since the overseer at the time cut the feed, since they had different motivations for the vault at that point. But I guess it was a bit of a rebellious streak in me even before my sudden departure. I do still believe in bits of that, though, like about rebuilding and all that. I don't know how any of the other vaults that weren't weird experiments did at sticking to that ideal, but I like to hope that a fair amount of them still believed in making the world a better place. Well, Ronto, that's it for the morning broadcast. I'll be transmitting some more local news later today after Hunter and I head into Eaton Central to get some supplies and attend the Great War Memorial for a bit. Have a great day, Wasteland. This has been Conrad Getz for Double Double Radio, signing off. Double Double Radio, a Fallout story, is a Voice in the Static production, written, starring, and produced by Edward Grimgrinner Hutchinson. You can find Double Double Radio on Instagram, Facebook, and other social media sites, and there's a merch store through Etsy. Links are in the episode description. Double Double Radio is also made possible with the love and support of listeners and Wastelanders like you. If you want to help support the show on Patreon, that link will also be in the description alongside the list of monthly supporters. Thanks for listening.